Watch the reverse lights as he pulls forward. All right, try it. Did you see a flash? Let's do that one more time. There it is. All right, we're gonna hope to try to catch this while it's on the lift. All right, put it in reverse, Mike. Okay. Step on the brake. All right, now try to get it to act up like if you were driving it. Back and forth. No. I believe it's probably when it's shaking a lot, you know? I'm really leaning to the reverse light switch. It seems like when it has a heavy vibration is when it triggers it. Looks like we have a fuse here, 10 amp backup. Comes down, we got a junction box. ER junction box. Comes out of there to the backup light switch, automatic manual. We got a manual, 2.0. Comes down to another, same junction box, out another terminal. And it comes up, back to the instrument panel junction box, and it looks like it jumps over. Also goes to the instrument cluster. Comes down to another joint connector. That joint connector is most likely in the back. Then you see your backup lights and G30 and G32. So anything triggering this power circuit will make that flash. Maybe we'll pop out the right back tail light. If I don't see anything obvious there, I'm going to jump to the reverse light switch. Alright, we popped out the right rear tail light. Did a simple wiggle test. We can't get it to act up. So I think now I'm just going to go right for that reverse light switch. It's right on top of the transmission. But to give us a little better access, we're going to just take and remove the air box. Now with the air box removed, you can see right here is the reverse light switch. I'm just going to unplug that for a moment. Like I said, I tried giving it a tap. Actually, you know what? Now that we get to it easy, Mike, I'm going to try that tap test. Now that we get to it easy. Alright, you ready?
Yep.
I'm going to give it a little tap while Mike's watching the lights. Anything?
Nope. Nothing.
Put it in first gear. That's when it flashes the most, right? Ready?
Yep.
Anything?
Nope. Nothing.
Man, I would think if it was this, I'd give it to... But it might be something internal. I'm going to pop the switch out just to take a peek at how it's set up. Alright, you can turn the key off for now. Alright, I'm using a 15/16 deep socket, 24mm most likely. I already broke it loose. Alright, here's the switch. I'm going to plug it back in, Mike. Can you put it in reverse?
Key on or?
It doesn't really matter at this point. Okay, so it drops down into a hole. Put it in first. Pops out. Okay. So the way this switch works, I gotta try to give these guys a good shot. I'm gonna zoom you in to how this mechanism works. Right now he's in first gear. Put it in neutral, Mike. Right there is neutral. And you can see it's actually in a position that it's pushing up on the switch, so it's engaging the switch to turn the lights off. Alright, Mike, put it in reverse. And in reverse, actually is supposed to drop down into a hole. Okay. See how it goes? All right, Mike, put it in reverse again. In reverse, as you see the position of this reverse light switch right now, the reverse light should be on because it falls down into that hole. This little pintle here, when it's in reverse, it's going to be fully extended. The reverse light's on. When you put it in neutral or gear, forward gear, it's going to push in, and at that point, the reverse lights should go off. Mike's behind the vehicle. Reverse lights should be on, right?
Yep, they're on.
I'm just going to touch this and tell me if they come off, they turn off. Are they off yet?
Nope.
Off yet?
Nope.
Off yet?
Nope. Nah.
Wow, I got to push way in. And I don't know about the whole entire depth. I mean, I guess I could measure that. I'm going to get a screwdriver to get a better feel for it. Tell me when it turns off.
Off.
Okay.
On. Off. On. Off. On.
Off.
Off. On.
Okay, so you see there's like an 1/8 inch gap actually. Is there a chance that we push it into, where does it go off? Right there?
Yep.
Is there a chance that it's chattering a little bit and doing that? Is it blinking?
Yep. That's on.
It's always a possibility. And I did the wiggle test on pretty much everything else. I think I'm gonna make the call on this switch, Mike.
Alright.
It's either that or the linkage inside the transmission, and that's the like worst case scenario.
Alright.
So I'd rather start with the cheapest part.
Alright.
Because the integrity of the rest of the system seems good.
Okay.
Alright, I was just thinking about this. There's one more thing I could do to prove out this switch. Or something internal to the transmission. What we could do is put everything back together. I could have did this while it was still together. And I'll take you over to the wiring schematic. I don't know if you want to follow this, Mike, if you want to hear my thoughts on this one. So if the power is coming down from this junction box, right? So you know you have a standard transmission, so pretty much we erase that side.
Right.
So now we're coming down, we hit the reverse light switch. Once you put it in reverse, that switch closes, right?
Okay.
That'll send power down through another junction here. But you can see right here, it's connected between these two to another joint connector, and then to your reverse lights, which are branched off,
Right.
right?
Left side and right side.
Yeah. So and then here's your grounds. So we know we have good power and ground because the lights are turning on, right? Even when you're pulling forward, they're chattering on and off. So there's got to be a good power and ground. But are we certain that the power is coming from this switch? Okay. So if I simply take and unplug this switch, it'll never close, right?
Right.
No matter what, the power can't come from this circuit.
Right.
And it's not going to hurt to unplug it because it's normally open anyway. Pretty much what that is like if I take a jumper wire and I put it between the two, it'll turn that light on.
Right.
If I simply leave it unplugged, it'll just be an open circuit just like it normally is in its normal state.
Yeah.
So what that'll tell us is we'll try to recreate it. I'll put it back together, we'll plug it in, and I'll have you pull forward and see if we get it to recreate the problem. If it recreates, we'll then take and unplug the reverse light switch, and it'll still stay in an open condition. And if it still blinks on and off, then we know it's getting a power from somewhere else.
Right.
A different source is backfeeding into those reverse lights.
Right.
And if it doesn't recreate it, right, then we know for certain, almost with 100% certainty, that it's coming from this switch, because that's the only path that we're going to be removing.
It's not getting the power from the switch.
Yeah. If it does turn on, then we have deeper problems and we'll have to go further. It still doesn't tell us if it's something internal of the transmission shaking, you know, and causing that switch to chatter. Because of the way that switch is set up, it's kind of odd. But our cheapest route would be to throw a switch at it, you know, instead of digging too deep into that transmission.
At $21.
Yeah, $21, you might as well throw that switch in, see what happens, and test that theory.
Yeah.
But first we'll determine if that is the source of the power.
Right.
Perfect. Okay, we just mocked everything back up, so the air cleaner is back on. I have the old reverse light switch, backup switch, right there. It's plugged back in. Now we're going to take and try to recreate the problem. It's in reverse now, right, Mike?
Yep.
Take it out of reverse. Okay. You can start it up and try to recreate it. Yep. Yep, there it goes, it did it again. All right, back up. We're going to do it without the bump. So just back up as far as you can until you get to the lift. A little more, right there. Yep, there it goes. Let's try to capture that one more time. Yep. Hot rod. Alright, so we unplugged the reverse light switch now, and we're going to take and try to recreate the same problem. Number 2, with the reverse light switch unplugged. Put it in reverse once, it's not going to light up. Nothing. Alright, put it in, try to recreate it going forward. Nothing. Alright, let's do it a couple times. Nothing. You didn't see the light splash at all, right, Tanny? One more time. Nothing. So it's got to be coming from that switch. We're gonna put you in the movies. Alright, I'm just gonna take and remove that reverse light switch. Alright, pause it. It's ready to come out. This is the original, and this is the replacement. As you can see, there is a noticeable difference in length. If you look at the tip, it's touching the ledge, and there's still like an 1/8 inch clearance between the bottom of this one and that ledge. So hopefully that's a good thing.
Might make the difference.
Might make the difference. What I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in the new one, and I'm going to push this in and see whereabouts it turns off the reverse lights. Okay, yeah, it's a noticeable difference. I mean, there's like 3/16 of an inch. Alright, so we're going to install this switch, and then we're going to try to recreate it. Click, click. Okay, reverse lights should be on.
Yeah, they're on.
Take it out of reverse. Put it in reverse. Put it in the first. Second, just wiggle the shifter around as you're doing it. First. I'm not seeing nothing. Reverse. Perfect. Alright, let's put the air cleaner back in and then we'll test it again. Okay, so as you can see, it's a pretty straightforward task. And I hope it made sense. Let's put it right to the old mark. Looks good. Everything's plugged in. Air cleaner's back on. Everything's tight. And we'll try to recreate the problem. Should be good. Everything back together with the new switch installed, plugged in, ready to test it. Alright, go for it, Mike. Back up a little bit first. Okay, reverse lights came on. Okay. Go forward. Yep, so far so good. Back up. Try it again. So far so good. One more time for the record. Okay? She's good. I hope it made sense on a route that I took to eliminate or to prove that it was the reverse light switch or something going on inside that transmission. So we know we had a good power and ground, so I didn't have to double verify our power and grounds because they were obviously present. It was already lighting up our test lights per se in the back, all the way at the end of the circuit. So we knew we were good there. So then I wanted to see why these were flickering. And to me, it could have been potentially two causes. Either that reverse light switch or something else in the circuit potentially shorting out, right? It's pretty much open all the time unless you put it in reverse. So we just took the switch itself out of that equation. So now it's no longer going to illuminate, of course, when we put it in reverse. But if there's another power feed somewhere in that circuit that is shorting out or potentially turning those lights on, other than the power coming from that set of contacts, this was going to tell us. Okay, we unplugged it and the problem went away. So I knew for certain, almost 100% certainty, that my problem was definitely at that transmission, that reverse light switch, somewhere with something in that equation. What other tests could I have performed to make this same assumption? Well, I thought about it for a little bit. Now there was another test that we could have done, right? We could have followed the power down, seen what side of the switch was always constant power. At that point, moved our test equipment to this other side of the reverse light switch, the other side of the conductor, the other conductor that was open unless you put it in reverse, and then we'd watch our light up, or our oscilloscope read voltage, right? But, the big but, that could have been a very, very misleading test. You could have called the reverse light switch when potentially there could be something else putting power to that circuit. I'm not sure of the whole entire circuit. I know there's junctions and whatnot, but you never know if something's rubbing together, if there's another power feed in a junction connector that could be putting power to your circuit when it's not supposed to. So what would have happened if I had that test light on the feed wire going back to the reverse lights? So we could have plugged it in. Like I said, we'd watch it blink. How would that tell you for certain that it's the reverse light switch or if it's something else? Because some might say, oh, the reverse light switch is bad. I'm watching it blink right at the switch. Okay, well, keep in mind that that circuit is still hooked up all the way back. So even if it wasn't completing the contact, getting its power from the reverse light switch, if it was shorting somewhere in the back, in the trunk, somewhere in that area at some other conductor, if it was shorting back there, guess what? It's still gonna backfeed that conductor and make it look just like that reverse light was turning it on and off. So you guys gotta keep a broad mind when you're looking at electrical issues that could potentially be the problem. So at that point, you could have, you would have to take something out of the circuit. You would have to unplug something further back to eliminate everything back and start working your way back. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Stay tuned.